What's up, everybody? I'm Michael Allen, and this is the Movie Minute. This episode of the Movie Minute, we are talking about John Crowley directed film We Live in Time, starring Andrew Garfield and Florence Pugh. So, if you're looking for a non-spoiler review, let's jump on in. Honestly, this was one of my most looked forward to films of 2024. As soon as I heard about this film, I just was intrigued because I really love Andrew Garfield and I love Florence Pugh. I think they're both incredible actors, and I was so excited to see them on the big screen together. I just think Andrew Garfield alone himself is charming, and Florence also has a very charming effect around her. And so the two of them together just seemed, wow, there could be something special here. The film surrounds Almut, played by Florence Pugh, and Tobias, played by Andrew Garfield, and their decade-spanning relationship and all of the moments in between. Almut is an aspiring chef, Tobias is a recent divorcee, and they kind of find each other through unique circumstances. Within that story are many different themes, but overall is truly a theme of love. And this film is a romance film, but true to form for A24, it's not your typical romance film. I'm not going to say anything else because I don't want to spoil the movie for you, but we'll jump into a few of the details in a second. So let's talk about what I liked. Of course, what seems to be the trend for me, the first thing that came to mind was the performances. I think I was looking forward to this and was not disappointed. I think Florence and Andrew have a really unique chemistry on screen together. I think that both of them give Oscar-worthy performances here, and they're both coming from very different spaces. Almut's coming from this life as a chef, this very successful life. She's very successful. And Andrew's coming from this space where his life is a mess. And so they are coming in, and it's so interesting to see those arcs kind of go alongside each other and crisscross at some points, but then move away from each other. The narrative dynamics at play within their relationships with each other are very strong. I mean, they really have a good grasp on how to connect. And that's hard to do when a film is spanning as long as this film spans. Screenwriters will tell you all the time, you want to make an easy movie, set the movie in 3 days. You want to make an extremely difficult movie, set it over 3 years. The more time you have to cover as a filmmaker and a storyteller, the more difficult it is to tell a good story. And that is absolutely strengthened by your actors. The stronger the performance, the stronger the connection, the more you're going to believe that this amount of time has passed within that relationship. The second thing I want to talk about is something that's very surprising for a romance, and that was the cinematography. The cinematography was really beautiful in this film. I just think you don't normally see incredible cinematography with a romance, but I think that John Crowley brought over Stuart Bentley, most likely from their work together on Black Mirror, and Bentley he chose some incredible lenses, you can tell with this film, just some really intimate lenses. It was very charming. Just this film has a lot of charm, and the cinematography reflected that, and that made for a stronger narrative and some moments that I just really deeply connected with the characters because of the choices of the camera. The last thing I really enjoyed was the writing, and it's just, you see it reflected in each scene, just how the characters talk with each other. The dialogue feels very authentic, very real. So let's talk about a few of the things that I didn't like. So, right off the top, as much as I loved the story that we are being told here, how the story was presented was very hard to follow. I think A24 really prides itself on doing things differently. It wants to bring something unique to the table, which I can appreciate that. I can appreciate what they tried to do with this film. And really, without making any massive spoilers, The film is just told in a non-linear fashion. And for those of you that don't know what that fully means, is that normally stories are told from beginning to end. What we see in We Live in Time is events all happening out of chronological order. They're happening, you're jumping years at a time from different moments in these people's lives. And while I think that that was a very creative, direct choice to make, I just don't know if it worked that well. It's hard to get to know these people when you're jumping around so much. I didn't feel immediately connected to the characters. It took a long time because of that non-linear timeline and the editing and how the story was presented. Because of that non-linear storytelling reality, it really affected the pace of the film. The pace of this film struggled. It just felt long towards the end, and it kind of made me sad because I was like, I love this story. There were some moments as the film approached the end where I kind of was like, all right, let's get to it. Let's get to the end. And that's a little bit of a bummer because of the emotional connection I was starting to develop with the characters, but it just was ordered in a very weird way and it didn't fully work. From an entertainment standpoint, this film was very entertaining. I was engaged with the characters and the story, even with the jumpiness. And so I'd probably give it an 8 out of 10 for entertainment. For a critic's rating, I'd probably give it a 7 out of 10 just because of those directorial choices in terms of non-linear storytelling. And so average out 7.5 out of 10 for me for We Live in Time. I honestly thought this was going to be higher for me. And I can say, experiencing this journey with these characters was just incredibly deep and incredibly beautiful. There is so much beauty in this story that I really enjoyed. Just the non-linear aspect of the film took me out of it. So from a badge rating, I'm absolutely giving this film an Oscar bait. I just think that it is probably going to get nominated for writing. It may get nominated for editing just because of how intensive the cut was, even though I didn't necessarily agree with it. And it probably will get nominations for Florence and Andrew as well. So with the Oscar bait rating, it's like, should you go see it in the theater? And I think that you should. I think that it's a film that is very enjoyable and it's a great date movie. I think it's just one of those movies that moves something inside your heart and it allows you to feel some really deep feelings. And it's always great to see that with the person that you love and then process that thing with them. And so I would encourage people to go see this in theaters. If you like this video, hit that like button, subscribe. Let me be your movie guy. I'd love for you to be on this journey with me. And until next time, everybody, peace out.